Hi, I'm Jackie Rabbit. Today I'd like to talk to you about facial feminization surgery and what the realistic expectations that you could expect from such a surgery for yourself and what that surgery is like. Go give me a thumbs up, then subscribe and click the bell so you know when I post a new video. I also want to make sure that you understand these are my experiences and I'm sharing them with you so you can get through this somehow, some way. If I can show you I've done it, maybe that helps you. So let's go talk about what the realistic expectations of facial feminization surgery are like. Come on, let's go talk about it. Facial feminization surgery is something a lot of us trans women think about. I know I did. It's one of the things that I noticed early on. I was hanging out at a friend's house and Steph Sanjati came up and my friend was always talking about Steph Sanjati. How beautiful is that little cutie? She is so cute. And I watched her whole series on facial feminization surgery, or FFS. And I knew in my future, FFS was definitely going to be for me. However, could my expectations have ever truly been realistic? I mean, we're looking at Steph, right? Cute, young, beautiful, transitioned early. I mean, this girl is hot stuff. 50-year-old soccer mom. 20-year-old hottie, 50-year-old soccer mom. Realistic expectations based on that really weren't going to happen. However, I did know that it made a difference for her. It was apparent. I could see it. I could figure it out, and it made sense to me. Now, if you want to know more about my surgery, I did post information about it during the surgery, after the surgery. There's lots of stuff about FFS in my video list. Feel free to go through there and go digging around and see the before and after. I even have one where I did a before and after because I had digital images of the before images they took at the hospital and the after in the 3D viewer. So that's definitely out there if you want to go look for it. Just go down into the video list and you'll find it. Now, all this time later, I mean, it's been a year or more, all this time later, I've had a lot of time to think about what that's like, what the realistic expectations are, and what I can tell you about it. And first and foremost, I want to tell you, don't worry about whether or not it hurts. Don't worry about whether or not the recovery will be really rough on you or if you'll be able to. Because I can tell you right now, you're going to recover from it if you do it. You are going to get through it if you do it. And the pain, at least for me, was completely manageable. In fact, while it was the most intense surgery I've had so far, and I've had bottom surgery, it was totally manageable. I got through it just fine. And it did take the longest for me to recover from. But that wasn't even that much time. And you can go back into my videos again and see, like at a month, I was feeling pretty darn good. So what it'll do for you versus what it did for me versus what it did for Steph are going to be very, very different, are they not? So realistic expectations have to be thought about. Now, when it comes to me, I'm pretty average. I wish I could show you, and maybe someday I will, some of the before pictures. I was a rough canvas, girls. I mean, bearded 250-pound lumberjack kind of person. I don't know how to describe that to you. Someday I'm going to show you a picture. I'm just not ready. So let me just say that where I came from and what you see today are vastly different. Huge difference in this girl versus what he was quite some time ago, like 4 years ago. Big, big difference. So I think the number one thing that got me here The number one thing that blends me into the world was facial feminization surgery. Not bottom surgery, not even breast augmentation, but facial feminization surgery. Now, the vocal surgery has helped tons for me. I definitely blend in. However, my voice prior to vocal surgery was not awful and did not out me. So I still maintain that the FFS surgery was the biggest game changer, confidence booster in my transition progress. And I want to share with you how I got through it all, what you might be able to expect, and then talk about what's realistic. So if I go back to the beginning and the lead up to the surgery, I didn't have a lot of knowledge. I did my searches, I did my utmost to understand the difference. And what I saw was that in the cases where there was a lot of masculinization, the changes were dramatic and impressive. You know, a lot of work had been done either on jaw and reshaping the forehead, brow lift, lip lift, cheek augmentation, and the results were absolutely dramatic. And then others who, like myself, didn't have a really strong masculinization and then had FFS, and the results were subtle but very important for feminizing, and that's where I fit in. I didn't do any work on the jaw, none at all. I still have a little dimple in my chin, which, you know, that'll go away someday when I do the bottom half facelift, where they just make an incision around the ears and basically just pull back all the skin under my chin, you know. And that's more of an age thing. For me, it's not so much feminizing. It definitely helps, but my face is pretty darn feminine anyway at this point. I'd love to add a little bit in the cheeks, a little volume there. I'll probably do that someday in a year or two. I got to save my money. It's cosmetic. I will do that. But that's phase 2. Kind of the way that some other girls have done it. I noticed Natalie did it in 2 phases. Natalie's closing down her channel. In fact, with Natalie, what I learned from her was vocal surgery worked really well for her in the idea that it made it effortless, which now that's what I get. I don't have to work at it. This is just what comes out. It's not perfect, but it doesn't out me. That was the goal, you know. So vocal surgery was that. Just an easier life, never having to worry about accidentally speaking too low, which now just sounds like if I try to talk like a boy, I just end up talking kind of like a girl trying to talk like a boy. So still, it doesn't even out me. I can't even out myself with my own voice after surgery. So that was successful, right? FFS did way more than that. So I'll just go over the details. What they did for me was they pulled my hairline down. So they brought my hairline down. They brought my brows up and effectively gave me just exactly that nice midpoint, you know, 3-finger from the eyebrows hairline, which is just absolutely right. And they reshaped the profile of my brows. So they brought them back flatter to my face, which really did an amazing job of bringing the profile of my face to the correct female profile. So that was fantastic. Then they did a lip lift where they made an incision below my nose, kind of like a little M shape to match the contours underneath the nostril. And they brought the lip up, which when I speak now, you can see I show a fair amount of top teeth. Now before this, I did not. You can see that in some old videos as well, where my top lip was a lot farther away from my nose and shrouded my top teeth a lot, which is another masculine trait. So that helped a lot. Did no cheek augmentation, although I'd like some, and nothing to the shape of the jaw. There really isn't anything overly masculine about my jaw. I would love to soak up some of this laxity by just pinning the skin back, you know, but again, that's cosmetic, so they didn't do that during that surgery. And it wasn't necessary because I am a 50-year-old girl. 50-year-old girls do have a little jowliness and a little bit of the chicken skin under the neck. That's not female. It's just normal female for my age. And that's perfectly fine. One of the things that you should be realistic about is trying not to create the 20-year-old version of yourself unless you're 20. I know most of you who watch me are between the ages of 40 and 60. I myself am 50. And I know there's not a ton of information out there or too many YouTubers in this age range for you to follow, which is why you're here with me. If for some reason you feel the need to put yourself out there as well, I commend you to please do so, and focus on exactly what I've pushed the channel towards, which is trans support. My story is boring, and a lot of crazy stuff has happened to me, but this channel is not about me. It's about me supporting you, getting through the same process. My only real goal here is to smooth the road out behind me for the girls who follow, because there were certainly girls ahead of me that helped me get through the rocky path when I was stumbling through it myself. So it's important to me to make sure that I'm giving a little bit of a smoother path, a little bit of a roadmap for those girls who follow. And if you want to do that, I am absolutely all for you, and I'll help you with anything I can answer. If you go to the comments and you have questions about how do I, what can I, how should I, I'll answer whatever I absolutely can. You can do it on a minimum with a zero budget and just give it your all. It takes time. You won't make a lot of money. I don't. Recently, I turned up all the monetization just to see what would happen. Nothing. It just kind of stayed the same. So I'll be going back through there, and just because I was curious, I'm going to go turn it back all off to some degree, because it makes like no difference at all. So don't count on it for money. That's not what it's for. But if you're interested in having a channel where you support other trans women by showing them the process and what it's like to get through the way I have, I'm very happy to give you any information I can to help you with that process. So back to facial feminization. The recovery process of it was intense, but manageable. I went up into that surgery with a bit of anxiety, but also really looking forward to it because I knew it was going to be a game changer, and it really was. So afterwards, I woke up and I had the worst headache ever. In fact, the quote from waking up from surgery, and it is on camera in a previous video that you're more than welcome to go find it, was, "I have a headache." And that's exactly what came out of my mouth when I woke up. I had a splitting headache. However, it does go away. Is a headache the worst pain in the world? No, not by a long shot. I once broke my back. My pelvis came off my spine and they screwed it back on. I know what crazy pain is, and facial feminization surgery pain was never crazy pain. In fact, it was never even just so much pain I couldn't stand it. It wasn't. There were some intense moments where it was the duration of the headache that was the worst part. The duration of the discomfort, that was the worst part. But it does go away. It was difficult because I had to wrap my head with gauze all the time and sleep with a big pile of pillows so that my head was elevated while I slept, so that swelling would drain downwards, because that's important. So you want to be set up with, a great big wedge and comfortable pillows, and know that you can sleep. Sleep that way in advance to the surgery. Be ready so that when you come home, you don't have to try to arrange all the pillows yourself when your head's just pounding. So, have all of that done in advance. Know that you can sleep that way, or sleep in a recliner, and know that you can do that in advance. That makes a big difference. Sitting up and having the fluids drain down is very important. One of the things that my surgeon told me to do, and I don't know that everyone does, so this is not a recommendation, this is just my experience. My surgeon told me to take arnica montana, which are these tiny little pellets. Took 5 of them, you let them melt under your tongue. And it helps with the bruising. And in my estimation, it really did help quite a bit. So ask your surgeon about it. Don't just do it on your own. Ask your surgeon and see what they think. Mine referred me to do so, and I did so, and I had good results. Within the first week, a lot of the swelling came down. But in that first week, and the videos are there if you want to go look, I had one eye swollen shut. One eye was still able to open pretty well. And that went on for about a week. It was very inconvenient. I was fully capable of doing my own things, taking care of myself, having a shower and brushing my teeth. While not fun, I just brushed slowly, preparing my meals, eating. Everything was fine. So as far as taking care of myself, that was all okay. I did stay with friends the first couple nights. I stayed one night in the hospital for observation. I think that everything went really well. I did have one instance where I had laid too far back the first day that I was out, and the swelling started getting a little intense. And so I thought, well, I'm going to go back to the hospital and have them check it out. And after having sat up in the car and getting there and sitting up for so long, everything drained and the swelling went down, so it wasn't any big deal. So the big thing is not laying down. Sitting up, being up, walking around on a regular basis, making sure that you're inclined while you're resting is important because that fluid needs to go down. And it's interesting because the bruises form under your eyes, and the bruise just washes down your face eventually over the course of about a month. And after about 4 weeks, the bruising was gone. Now, there was still some puffiness, and the massive swelling was gone. However, I kind of missed it because in the very beginning, with so much swelling in my face and I saw myself for the first time, it was actually really awesome because I looked like a 12-year-old. I was so swollen and my skin was so awesome looking with no wrinkles that I looked fantastic. I looked so young. I kind of missed that. One of the things that happens is over time, all of the swelling goes away, and it takes a few months. And you don't look quite as young as you did after surgery. And you can go look at some of my old videos and see that is very true. I looked pretty darn young. I was looking like I was in my 30s again. It was very exciting. But that does subside, and your wrinkles will come back. However, in my forehead, where they raised the brows and brought the hairline down, that skin has been stretched a bit. A lot of like the worry lines that I normally have and some of the forehead wrinkles that I would normally have, they're gone. Now, here by my eyes, I still have some of the crow's feet and stuff. Hey, I'm 50, so I got crow's feet, so what? They're not as prominent, but they are still there. And that's why underneath, at some point, I want to do the lower half where they just bring back the skin under your neck, which honestly, I really would like that. I'm going to have to save my money. That's phase 2, right? So you can expect to just need to kind of breeze through that first week of recovery without going to work, none of that stuff. In fact, I would say, between 2 and 4 weeks, you can consider it. You need to relax and recover and be able to take care of yourself. And that first week is going to be mostly just watching TV and not eating crunchy things. Crunchy things make your head vibrate. So you're going to want a lot of soft things around. I had a lot of Jell-O cups and things like that. Top ramen, easy stuff, worked really well for me. But the expectations that I had were met with realistic goals, and I do believe that everything was achieved very nicely. So even if you have really masculine features, I do believe that you should have realistic expectations to have good feminizing. From what I've seen, the very masculinized faces that were put through FFS came out really female. They looked like the female version of the previous face, which I think is exactly what's happened with me. I have the female version of the face I would have if I was born female. It wasn't overdone. It wasn't over-tightened. I didn't end up with permanently surprised eyebrows. I mean, you don't want that. You don't want your friend to say, how are you doing? And, you try to answer them. Oh, I'm doing really well. Hi, how are you? Yeah, my day's going great. How are you doing? You don't want the permanently surprised eyebrows. That's not good. So don't give your surgeon suggestions. Just what I told my surgeon was, I want to be the female version of me. I didn't give him copies of pictures of movie stars or anything like that. Like, here's Kirstie Alley, I want to look like her, or, none of that stuff. Yeah, and Kirstie Alley's cute as heck, too. So, before she got skinny. But I just think it was the #1 game changer for me. I mean, honestly, it was the game changer for me. Everything else was necessary, but FFS, well, initially I wasn't sure if it was necessary. I look back now at it as being the #1 game changer, the biggest confidence booster I've done so far. And I recommend it to anyone who is even thinking about it, because it could be the big game changer for you too. Do your homework, think about it. We've had a little chat about it now. You can go back and look at the other videos, If you want to talk to some other girls who really have thought about this a lot, or have had it themselves, or know other girls who have had it, and they actually talk about it in a dedicated place, you can go to transgenderpulse.com, sign up, tell them that Jackie sent you, and then ask away. And they're going to have some reasonable advice and reasonable ideas to help you get through the idea of what that might look like. So, if it's something that you've been thinking of, I recommend it. Personally, do what needs to be done. If you have to eat top ramen and salad for 2 years, like I have, it's worth it. Truly the game changer. Though #1 for me was FFS. Maybe it will be for you as well. Take care of yourself, and remember, I really care that you get through these things. My goal is to make the road smoother behind me for the girls who will follow. That is my hope, my want, and my wish for you all. If there's anything I can do and you want me to answer some questions down below, please go ask away. I check those comments all the time. And I'm happy to answer as long as I have an answer that will help. That's my main focus. What can I do to help? So go ask. Take care of yourself. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Hopefully this process will be smoother for you than it was for me. So go do what you need to do for you, and just take things one day at a time. That's really all you can do. Take care of yourself. I'll see you next time. Bye. Just earlier today, I had something funny happen. A friend of mine came over to help me with the hot water that hasn't been working for a while. We live out in the country, and there's the well, and it turns out that sediment was filling the lines and the water heater, and we had to figure out what to do. So he helped me tremendously today, and we reefed all the pipes out and turned the water on and off a million times and took apart the water heater and all the elements and put it back together all morning long. This poor guy is helping me out all the time. Now, this old friend of mine is an old biker buddy of mine. He's known me forever, and we used to make a lot of trouble together on 2 wheels. So it's never been an easy thing for him to just get the pronouns right, but he's done a fantastic job, mostly, except for a lot of calling me dude, which is fine, because that's just normal in California. Everybody is guys or dude, even the girls do it. But I knew something was different after today. We got everything done, and I said, thank you so very much. You have no idea what hot water means to me. It's so important, and I'm really happy you helped me with this. And he said, yeah, no problem, Chica. See you later. And I knew right then and there, oh my gosh, in his eyes, I'm no longer the old biker buddy. I'm Jackie, the chick that lives in the loft out in the country. And what a game changer it is. How nice is it to have friends like that, to just really, really make you feel good and give you a little hot water. Cold showers are really not fun in the winter.